Hope everybody can see me. Today, I wanted to show you that I have finished mapping out most of the feathers on this side. And so I'm just going to be doing a work session today. Got my coffee. Hope you have some coffee or tea, and just it's a great time. It's a nice quiet time to sit and work. Hi, Mark. Good morning. So I'm doing this other side. I did most of the mapping out, and I'm just trying to correct where I don't have it just right. Oops. And I'm going to, after I just check my mapping out, I'm going to then smooth all those little crumbs out that I have done or inadvertently made. There's all these little crumbs of clay, and I'll smooth it out as I go. One of the things that people go, well, she's still doing that? Well, I don't work every day on it. I can't. So these mornings are great because these are my mornings where I can really sit and enjoy this. And to do a complex piece anyway, you don't want to feel rushed on it. You want to enjoy your work, and hopefully it's not like back in the old days when I had to do it for a living. It had to be done in 2 weeks. So it's very relaxing. And I'm also in school right now. So I'm taking various courses. And I noticed that having books on tape or listening to books while you're doing this kind of detail work and you're just sort of tedious, it's a very good combination. Whereas if I'm up and trying to cook something and I'm trying to listen to a book on tape, I have to replay it 10 times because I've lost my place and I've drifted, I've daydreamed. But it seems like it's a nice combination to listen to audiobooks while you're doing this kind of work. So I keep going back to my plan, and I'm looking at pictures all the time. And when I have this all just exactly where I want it, you will all get a picture of this added to that book. So that would just be additional for free because I want everybody to see what I ended up with on this side, because it's impossible to figure it out ahead and draw it exactly. You can get something that close where the main areas are mapped out, but then getting these parts in the midst of the main areas, that's what's kind of hard. So I'm just going through, and I want to get these shapes and the position of the shapes correct. And then now I wanted to add that sometimes because of my schoolwork, I won't be able to be on every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And what I plan to do is there's a place for comments where I can add a comment. So I think it says community on our YouTube channel. So just go on in there and check that in between live streams to see. I'll try to always be present, even just to do a work session. And then on Friday, we're going to have a guest. And she is a master mold maker for the bronze casting field. And she has worked as a bronze artist, a sculptor, and in the casting department for the waxes and making the plaster molds for the waxes for 20 years. She's really experienced, and she'll be here on Friday morning, and she'll show what she's been working on. So 7:30 Friday morning for sure will be on. I don't know what I'm going to do this Wednesday except more of a work session, but definitely don't miss that Friday morning, and I'll post a lot of little previews to that because she's really interesting. She has a huge body of work, and her name is Diana Simpson, and she's been with Thumb Butte Bronze in Prescott for a long time. She does mostly wildlife, and she does whimsical wildlife as well as realistic wildlife. She's a horsewoman, so she's owned horses. So she has many, many sculptures of just excellent horse sculptures because she really knows her topic. So that really helps when you know what your you know what your subject is. So I'll be switching around on these different pieces for my work session until they're all done, and then we'll move on to the next ones. I kept saying I wanted to do gamble quail. I might change direction on that because there's a really interesting bird, and I have great reference material on it. It's called the yellow-billed cuckoo, but it's a really cool bird, a very rare bird. And I had one hit my window, so I got to do detailed studies of it. Sad that it hit the window. It's extremely rare, and the Audubon Society tracks the movement of them all. But they happen to be in very limited locations out west here. I'm in Prescott Valley, Arizona. And so they didn't know they were here. So I would like to do a sculpture of a bird like that because most people have never even heard of that bird, but it's indigenous to this area. It's, one of those very special birds that probably there's no sculpture of out there. So I might do that next. We'll see. Let's see how far I get. And at any rate, any of these sculptures, I really consider them studies, and I want to be showing. Hi, Cindy. I want to be showing the work so other people can try it, because at this time in my life, I'm not like dying to be in a gallery. I'm not dying to do it for a living anymore. I just want to do it because I enjoy doing it. And if I can share the techniques and the ideas with other people, I think that's the most rewarding thing for me that I can do. So anyway, I'm really happy to be able to just open up my computer and be able to share my my work. And I have my coffee. So it's really sculpture for sculpture's sake, not because I'm dying to be in shows or galleries. But if you guys want to be in shows and galleries and whatever, and I can help you, with the techniques you need, that would be great. Oh my gosh. So Mark is saying he is close to the Smithsonian Institute, which I've been to one time, and I thought I've got to come back here every week. Thousands of study scans of birds. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. We'll see if they have if you have time, the yellow-billed cuckoo. And I would like to work on that because maybe Audubon Society would be interested in whatever we come up with as a way to publicize saving that bird. They have real challenges to their survival right now. So that's the kind of thing that's a meaningful project because we can maybe make a difference, either gain people's awareness or, there's all kinds of things we can do with working on these different species of animals. That is so cool. I used to want to be a biological illustrator. By the way, I'm just doing almost like roof tiles right now, but in the end, they won't look like set roof tiles. They'll be, and as I get this finished, I'll bring my computer up real close so you can see it very, very close up. But I'm doing almost like a roof tile technique here to get these feathers mapped out because they do overlap and there is a little bit of variability on how they overlap. But generally, the interesting thing I've observed is the feathers this way overlap this way, like the roof tiles go that way, the roof tiles go that way and that way, but up here, they go this way. So when I first saw that, I thought, am I looking at the right, am I seeing the right example? But anyway, so you first kind of make them look like tiles and not very interesting. There's not much not much variation, but you just want to get that mapped out. And then after that's done, you'll go in and, as I've started to do on this side, just, you can't really see it that well yet. And believe me, I'll help you see it when I get to doing it all. But little feather marks. And if you look at one of the texture videos that we have that Chuck did right before he couldn't do any more videos. That was his last one. You'll see him talk about the different kinds of textures and the basics to how to achieve it. If you look on our channel, let's see if I can bring that up real quickly. the Learn Sculpture channel, this was a full-size great horned owl. And on our website, learnsculpture.org, you'll see where he kind of tufts up the feathers and almost like the wind is blowing on them and bringing them up a little bit. It's all an illusion, this view here. It's hard to see here, but on our channel, youtube.com, Learn Sculpture, you can start to see that. And then on our actual website, let's see if I can bring that up, but you can go there and see it close up. In the sculpture gallery, I added, I need to add the details of this work, but here it is, a little larger. You can see areas where he just maps out the feathers, and his work is so clean. His work is so clean. It's like, okay, I'm trying. But anyway, he maps it out, and then he starts to incise the feather forms in a very logical way that looks very realistic, and they overlap beautifully. And then where they're floating up, he has a nice effect where the feather is actually got some clay under it, but it has to be like that so it comes out of a mold. But it's really effective, and that's a wonderful example of where you want to eventually be after you do a little practice. So I did figurines most of my life, and he did all the birds, and so it's fun to do everything, but you learn something new by each subject that you're working on. That's for sure, whether it's scales or feathers. And even Diana, who was coming Friday, she looked at some of the faces that I had done and said, how did you get them so smooth? Because she doesn't work on faces. She works on fur and feathers and other kinds of textures. So every one of these elements presents an interesting learning perspective. Even like the wood. I mean, I've finally went and cleaned off my wood, which I found in my yard. I mean, how lucky is that? That's a cool piece of wood. But I had mud underneath it before. It was on a rag, and now it's cleaned off. But when I get this piece done on the bottom, I want that to have that effect where it's really a logical flow of the wood textures and the wood grain. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to, it's like these patterns, they have to give a logical approximation to whatever the subject is to be. I think, you don't have to be realistic, but it creates an effect in the observer's mind of reality. And so it's just kind of like a special effect in a movie. I want to kind of create that same feeling where you are transported away from, now this is no longer clay or plaster or bronze, it's whatever your subject is. And it transfers through the medium to whatever your idea is. So just trying to be, I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm just trying to create an effect with accuracy, if that makes sense. But anyway, there's a lot of really beautiful, I collected up a bunch of barn owl sculptures that I really like, and I haven't shown them yet here. Maybe Wednesday I'll do that. I'll print them out and show them. From very realistic to very abstract. But the thing that the abstract and realistic ones have in common, for what I perceive are the good ones, is they're proportionately elegant. They really speak to your mind about your sense of, I guess, aesthetic proportions is what I would like to say. So anyway, I will continue on this. I'm about to close off, and I'll put on I'm listening to one of my courses is about Don Quixote. So I listen to the hugely long book while I'm working, and there's my alarm. And so I'll get back to it. And I hope you guys will send in your work so I can post it and talk about it. Thank you. See you Wednesday, hopefully. Bye-bye.